that story.
Right.
Girl,
Oh,
okay. Send me
Okay.
your cell phone number because I'm gonna hold you accountable because I need you to hold me accountable. And I was just messaging John about someone else that I was holding accountable, and they freaking held me. They're like, "You better be here." And yeah, no, message me your number.
Okay.
right. So earlier we
Okay.
talked let me say something, because earlier on
Yeah.
step 4, at the end of step 4, we talked about a story that Clancy talks about in early aviation. So it talks about trusting the process. What you want to do to find someone to do your 5th step with is have good judgment. Watch people and listen to them. Watch them and listen to them and talk to them. Interview them. See,
Okay.
as you're interviewing them, see if they gossip to you about other people.
Yes. Yeah.
See how they talk about other people. Okay, so here's the story that Clancy talks about early aviation. Early aviation, let's say 1915, World War II, 1918, 16, 17, pilots were dying because they did not know how to get out of a tailspin. So when their airplane was going down, they didn't know how to get out of that tailspin. They were dying. Because what they did was, if the airplane is going down, they would pull back on the stick, thinking that was going to help things out. Monitor the waiting room, guys. The waiting room is on. If there's a stupid name in there, don't even let them in, but monitor the waiting room. So they would pull back on the stick, thinking that was the right thing to do to get them out of that tailspin. And so ultimately, this one pilot, his airplane got into a tailspin. He was going down. And he said, well, hell, nobody's ever gotten out of this tailspin, so I know I'm going to die. Might as well get it over with. And he pushed down on the stick to get it over with faster.
Huh.
And that's how he got out of that tailspin.
Huh.
So every self-preservation fiber is going to tell you, pushing down on it, I'm going to die faster. But if you trust the process, just like when you learn to drive, the instructor or whoever showed you how to drive told you, if your car starts spinning to the left, you're in the first impulse is going to be to turn the wheel to the right. But they tell you that's the wrong thing to do. If you're going to the left, watch the waiting room. Turn your wheel to the left. Turn your steering wheel to the left, and that's how you regain control of the vehicle. I mean but that's counterintuitive.
Turn into it.
Yeah, but that's counterintuitive. Your self-preservation is going to tell you that's wrong, but trust the process. Trust the process. And plus, eventually, after some time, you're going to have your life an open book. What you want to do is make your life an open book where it doesn't matter. People may say, hey, John, you're a thief. Yeah, yes, I am. That's who I was. That's not who I am now. You want to make your life an open book. That fear of being found out, that fear of, gee, if they knew me, they wouldn't like me. That's where the freedom starts with steps 4 and 5. So again, interview some people without them even knowing you're interviewing them.
Right.
They don't have to know you're interviewing them, but watch how they treat others. Watch how they talk to you about others. And just trust the process and trust the higher power.
Oh dear.
That's it.
Thanks, John. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah,
Okay, we ready?
Thank you
Hi,
for
it's
being
Claire. Are you
here
ready?
and being in the process. Go ahead, Claire. Let's do it.
Okay, great.
Also, cousin, you want to tell them what's going on, cousin? The people coming in here. We have 43 people.
For anyone that's just coming in, today is our 12 Steps to Freedom workshop, where we go through the 12 steps in about 4 hours. We're currently on step 7, so you're free to stay and listen and participate. Go ahead, Claire.
Great. Hi, I'm Claire. I'm an alcoholic. Step 7, humbly ask him to remove our shortcomings. Humility is not thinking less of yourself. It's thinking of yourself less. C.S. Lewis. 12 and 12, page 70. Since this step so significantly concerns itself with humility, we should pause here to consider what humility is and what the practice of it can mean. 12 and 12, 12, page 76. The seventh step is where we make the change in our attitude, which permits us with humility as our guide to move out from ourselves toward others and toward God. The whole emphasis of step 7 is on humility. It is really saying to us that we now ought to be willing to try humility in seeking the removal of our other shortcomings, just as we did when we admitted that we were powerless over alcohol and came to believe that the power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Without God, I can't. Without me, he won't. God will not remove a single defect from us without us taking some action. He will help us help ourselves if we are willing and humble enough, and if we take action. You can't continue to curse and expect God to snap his fingers and make you stop cursing. You must make a conscious effort to stop cursing, and your higher power, HP, will help you. You can't pray for a job and expect to get one if you don't take some action and fill out an application. You can pray all you want to win the lottery, but nothing will happen if you don't buy a ticket. Without God, I can't. Without me, he won't. Faith without works is dead. 7-step prayer, big book, page 76. When ready, we say something like this, quote, my creator, I am now willing that you should have all of me, good and bad. I pray that you now remove from me every single defect of character which stands in the way of my usefulness to you and my fellows. Grant me strength as I go out from here to do your bidding. Amen. We have, end of quote. We have then completed step 7. We never complete steps 6 and 7, the big book doesn't say we have completed any of our other steps. If alcohol is not the problem, then our character defects are the root cause of our problems and something we need to work on for the rest of our lives. We live in steps 6 and 7, along with steps 10, 11, and 12. Quote, if you have decided you want what we have and are willing to go to any lengths to get it, then you are ready to take certain steps. Alcohol Anonymous, page 58. Are you willing to go to any lengths? If so, let's move on.
Okay. Are you still willing to go to any length? If so, let's move on. Thank you so much, Claire, for reading step 7 for us today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for letting me read.
Okay. Going to see if we could get somebody to read step 8. Get a volunteer for step 8. Regina, you want to come back in and do step 8?
Lost you guys now. God darn it.
Hey, cousin Jay, I can do that. Hold on.
Okay,
Let's see what
go ahead.
Nicole has her hand up too. Let's see what Nicole has to say.
Okay.
Nicole, what's up? You have your hand up.
I was gonna volunteer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead and read it. Step 7.
Alright. So the big black nigger puts his dick in my mouth.
Crazy shit. All right, come on, let's move on.
Wow.
Regina's good now. Don't sweat it, guys. They do this to kindergarten classes. We don't give a shit.
Yep.
Go ahead and mute yourself, Regina.
Okay. Step 8. Made a list. I'm Regina, recovering alcoholic. Step 8. Made a list of all persons we have harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. 12 and 12, page 77. Steps 8 and 9 are concerned with personal relations. First, we take a look backward and try to discover where we've been at fault. Next, we make a vigorous attempt to repair the damage we have done. And third, having thus cleaned away the debris of the past, we consider how, with our newfound knowledge of ourselves, we may develop the best possible relations with every human being we know. Big Book, page 76. Now we need more action, without which we find that faith without works is dead. Let's look at step 8. We have a list of all persons we have harmed and to whom we are willing to make amends. We made it when we took inventory. We subjected ourselves to a drastic self-appraisal. Now we go out to our fellows and repair the damage done in the past. We attempt to sweep away the debris which has accumulated out of our effort to live on self-will and run the show ourselves. If we haven't the will to do this, we ask until it comes. In the 80s, they used to tell us to burn our 4th step once we did the 5th step. I still suggest that to people nowadays because you don't want that 4th step laying around for others to see. I also don't think the 4th step inventory has much to do with the 8th step list because you don't owe someone an amends just because you had a resentment against them unless you took action and did something or said something to them. Sometimes we have a resentment and the other person doesn't even know it. The 8th step starts the process of forgiving others and perhaps being forgiven by them. By forgiving others, we start forgiving ourselves and start learning how to live at peace and harmony in the world. By the time we reach this step, we have become ready to understand rather than to be understood. We can live and let live easier when we know the areas in which we owe amends. Okay, how should you make this amends list? I recommend that you get a blank sheet of paper and make 3 columns. First column, names of those people you're willing to make amends to right away. Second column, names of those people you're willing to make amends to in the future. Third column, names of people you'll never, ever, never make amends to. It is best to have tunnel vision when doing this step. Only focus on steps 8 and making that list. Don't worry about step 9, just make the list. You don't have to go back to kindergarten when you're making out your list. Put down the names of those people that come to mind without any real thought being put into it. In your heart, you know who you've done wrong and need to make amends to. You don't have to worry about making your amends list 100% accurate. Don't worry about making this list deep and searching. Just do the list. You have the 10th step to add any names that you may have initially forgotten. You can add names to your list until you die because there may be something or someone not on your list today that you genuinely don't think you owe an amends to, but 20 years from now, it may dawn on you that you owe them an amends. Should you add your own name to your amends list? Should it be the first name on the list or last? First, don't waste time on whether you should put your name on there or not. Then waste more precious time thinking about where to place your name. I think it's irrelevant whether you're on that list or not. Second, don't prioritize the names on your amends list, just make the list. The concept of harm as it relates to the 8th step is one that has various meanings. In the 12 and 12, page 80, we might next ask ourselves what we mean when we say that we have harmed other people. What kinds of harm? Do harm in a particular way We might call it the result of instincts in collision, which cause physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual damage to people. If our tempers are consistently bad, we arouse anger in others. If we lie or cheat, we deprive others not only of their worldly goods, but of their emotional security and peace of mind. An invitation to become contemptuous and vengeful. You may not have stolen a single thing from your parents, relatives, or friends. You may not have stolen a single thing from your parents, relatives, or friends. You may have gotten along very well with them and repaid them for every single cent they spent on you for one reason or another. So how could you have possibly harmed them? Why should they be on your amends list? Well, think about the peace of mind that you stole from them. We have done harm that we cannot even imagine. I remember hearing one person talk about his mother thanking him after he quit drinking because she could now go down to the corner store and buy a gallon of milk. Did he kidnap her and lock her up to prevent her from going down to the corner store? Turns out that his mother's friend would often be at the corner talking about their kids and how well their kids are doing. She, on the other hand, had nothing good to say about her son, so she avoided her friends as much as possible. But after he quit drinking and turned his life around, she could then visit with her friends and have good things to say about her son also. After making the list, let's evaluate your willingness to make the amends, especially the names in the third column. You know, the ones that you'll never make amends to, the ones that hell will have to freeze over before you even think about making amends to them. Well, your task now is to pray for the willingness to make those amends something in the future. We now proceed to step 9.
Thank you so much for reading step 8. Okay, gonna move on to step 9. That's what the instructions tell us to do. Good afternoon, family. I'm Jonathan, and I'm an alcoholic. Step 9.
Hey,
May direct amends.
Kazik, let them know what's going on.
Oh yeah. By the way, this is the 12 Steps to Freedom workshop that is in progress today, as opposed to our regular meeting. Our regular meeting will continue tomorrow. Every month we go through 12 steps in 4 hours. This is that weekend, and now we are on step 9. We started at 10 this morning, and we'll complete this by 2 o'clock. Please, you're welcome to stay. Okay. Jonathan, alcoholic. Step 9. May direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. The best amends is change behavior. Author unknown. In the big book, page 76, it states, now we go out to our fellows and repair the damage done in the past. We attempt to sweep away the debris which has accumulated out of our effort to live on self-will and run the show ourselves. If we haven't the will to do this, we ask until it comes. Remember, it was agreed at the beginning we would go to any length for victory over alcohol. The 12 and 12, page 83. After we have made a list of people we have harmed, have reflected carefully upon each instance, and have tried to possess ourselves of the right attitude in which to proceed, we will see that the making of direct amends divides those we should approach into several classes. There are those, there will be those who ought to be dealt with just as soon as we become reasonably confident that we can maintain our sobriety. There will be those to whom we can make only partial restitution. Less complete disclosure do them harm, or others more harm than good. There will be other cases where action ought to be deferred, and still others in which, by the very nature of the situation, we shall never be able to make direct personal contact at all. What's the difference between an amends and an apology? What does AA mean when they refer to amends? I like to expand on the definition of amends a bit by saying that making amends means making things right between us, making a person whole. I think it's also based on the severity of the wrongs, the passage of time that differentiates the amends from an apology. If you step on someone's toes, you don't owe them an amends. An apology or a simple I'm sorry is fine. If you break a date at the last minute, an apology is fine, unless that date was to meet at the altar. Some people act, act as though those words are interchangeable. We think that an amends is recommended when the damage or injury was injurious and with some time lapse. For example, if a wooden fence has a loose board, then all it needs is to be have the board hammered in. But if we let it go for a few months or a few years go by, we really need to mend that fence. So please try your best not to use the word sorry in your amends. The word apology is totally acceptable during the amends process. It's a good idea to go over the list with someone to ensure that you really need to make amends to the person, as well as planning the best course of action for making the amends. Bill Wilson didn't just arbitrarily choose the word wherever instead of whenever when writing this step. The words are not interchangeable. In the 12 and 12, page 83, it states, good judgment and a careful sense of timing, courage and prudence. These are the qualities we shall need to take step one. In the big book, page 79, it states, although these reparations take innumerable forms, there are general principles. There are general principles which we can which we find guiding, reminding ourselves that we have decided to go to any length to find a spiritual experience. We ask that we be given strength and direction to do the right thing. No matter what the personal consequences may be, we may lose our position or reputation or face jail, but we are willing. We have to be. We must not shrink at anything. Okay, now to the heart of the situation. How do we go about making an amends? It's best to make an amends directly, as it says in the ninth step. I interpret direct as meaning person to person, face to face. The second option for making direct amends is over the phone, but not by a text message. And the third is to sit down and write a letter and send it in the mail. If making an amends is going to cause more harm than good to the person, it is best not to make the amends. How about if I cannot make an amends because the person is dead or the company is no longer in business? Well, you can make indirect amends. How about if your parents only want you to stay sober and they don't need you to pay back the money that you owe them? Well, you owe a lot more than money. You owe them peace of mind, the peace of mind to your loved ones and to the friends that care about you. What should I do besides making a living amends? Is an amends is an amends without follow-up action enough? No. The big book, page 82, The alcoholic is like a tornado, roaring his way through the lives and the hearts of others, and hearts are broken. Sweet relationships are dead. Affections have been uprooted. Selfish and inconsiderate habits have kept the home in turmoil. We feel a man is unthinking when he says that sobriety is enough. He is like the farmer who came up out of the cyclone cellar to find his home ruined. To his wife, he remarked, "Don't see anything the matter here, Ma. Ain't it grand that the wind stopped blowing?" What is a follow-up action? It's simple. Words mean very little. It's the actions that count most. If you owe money to the IRS or any other debtor, call them and make payment plans, but be prepared to send some money, any amount that you owe. If you owe child support or alimony, call them and make arrangements to start sending them some money right away. Enclose a check. And once you have started this 9-step journey, you will be shocked at how your higher power will help you out in getting it all done. See, step 9 is all about you. It's about cleaning up your side of the street. The person you're making amends to, they may have even done you considerable harm that you have done them. But it's about you accepting responsibility for your own actions, admitting your faults. See, in the big book, pages 77 and 78, the question of how to approach the man we hated will arise. It may be that he has done us more harm than we have done him. And though we may have acquired a better attitude toward him, we are still not too keen about admitting our faults. Nevertheless, with a person we dislike, we take the bit by the teeth. It is harder to go to an enemy than to a friend, but we find it much more beneficial to us. We go to him in a helpful and forgiving spirit, confessing our former ill feeling and expressing our regret. Under no condition do we criticize such a person or argue. Simply, we tell him that we will never get over drinking until we have done our utmost to straighten out the past. We are there to sweep off our side of the street, realizing that nothing worthwhile can be accomplished until we do so. Never trying to tell him what he should do. His faults are not discussed. We stick to our own. If our manner is calm and frank and open, we will be gratified with the results. See, step 9 is a very tall order, but one that will help you in many ways. This is another one of those freeing steps. You'll be able to look at yourself and others in the eye. Self-esteem will be built up by doing esteemable acts, and making the amends will build your self-esteem. You'll be able to go anywhere without feeling that you must watch your back. You'll be able to answer the door again. You'll be able to go and let go of the past. You'll be able to answer the phone again, and you will put on a new pair of glasses. See, the best amends is change behavior. Don't mess up your amends with an excuse. Sometimes we hear an alcoholic say that the only thing he needs to do is to keep sober. Certainly, he must keep sober, for there will be no home if he doesn't. But he is yet a long way from making good the wife or parents whom, for years, he has shockingly treated. That is the big book, page 82. The big book sums up some of the benefits of step 9. much better than I can. And these are the 9-step promises. Big Book, page 83 and 84. If we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we will be amazed before we are halfway through. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past, nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity, and we will know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. The feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in self-esteem and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and economic insecurity will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. These are the 9-step promises. You see, Dr. Bob relapsed because he didn't want to make amends. He started making amends the same day he stopped drinking again. If you relapsed on any step, you should just continue from where you relapsed. There is no need to go back to step 1 unless you had reservations and never surrendered to alcoholism. So get a sponsor and go over the list and devise a course of action for each person on your list. There will be people that you have on your 8th step that your sponsor is going to cross off. You don't make amends to your drug dealer, and you don't make amends to your ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend or ex-spouse if you don't have children or a connection with them. Okay. And that is step 9. Thank you so much for allowing me to read step 9. And those are the instructions for taking the 9th step, right from the book. Okay, it says, let's continue to step 10.
Let's see if they have any questions, and any questions or comments.
Oh yeah, any questions or comments on step 9? Well, Alyssa's here to read step 10. Any questions or comments on step 9? Okay. Well, I usually stop here and I give my 9th step experience, which I'll do. It don't take a minute. My name is Jonathan, and I'm an alcoholic. And after I made a list and took it to my sponsor, yeah, he crossed off some of the stuff on the list. We went over it carefully, and then we did devise a plan on how I was going to approach these things. I laughed because I tried to cheat. When I looked at my list, I wanted to do the easy people first, the people that I knew would accept my amends, and I wouldn't have a hard time with, but that's not the way it happened for me. I have a wife and I have 2 sons, and they were at the top of the list. My wife was the most difficult one, and one of my sons would have been was difficult too. But me and my son that was skipping into the sunset hand in hand, who really got along well, I said I was going to do him first. So what I did was, sharp guy like me, I invited him over on Sunday afternoon and told him what I wanted to do. And he agreed. Don't you know he couldn't make it? And he called me that morning and said, Dad, I'll be busy until Tuesday. And so, oh man. And so I'm sitting there waiting for him. He told me he was busy till Tuesday, and I'm sitting there, and I'm sitting right across from my wife. One of the hardest amends that I ever had to make. I've been married for 30 years, and she's been putting up with my stuff. And I got the courage to look over to her and say, you know what? I've never made amends to you. I know that I have a lot of sorry and a lot of repeat offender stuff going on. But I said, I never made amends to you. and her eyes opened up. And I sat there and I let her know that I know that I caused her shame. I know that I caused her pain. I know that I hurt her. I know that at times I even abandoned her due to my drinking. And that I wouldn't get over drinking if I did not change. And if I wasn't willing to change. And I let her know some of the stuff that I had done. Most of it she had already known. And then I asked her, well, if there's anything mentally, physically, spiritually, or emotionally that you want to discuss with me, I'll give you an opportunity to do it. And so I sat there and she said, well, physically, we never fought. So physically, I never put hands on you. And she said, financially, you took good care of me and stuff like that. You do your drinking, managed to pay the rent, pay the bill. And she said, oh, but emotion. And I must say that she let me have it like never before. And I took it like a man, you know. I cried and she let me have it like never before. And but that was the beginning of us starting new, because I had never apologized and agreed to let her know what I was going to do about it. I had always just said I was sorry, and then a few months or a year later repeated the same behavior. But since then, nothing is perfect, but there are some things that we don't go at it about. You know, I'm faithful today to my wife. You know, and we argue, man, but it's not about me drinking, it's not about me drugging, and it's not about me cheating. You know, it's mostly about burning the chicken and gimme, 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 and I want and you want and this color and that color and just bullshit today. So I can live with that. But it made a big, big difference in our relationship, and we're still married, and I don't plan on going anywhere. And she told me that she don't plan on going anywhere either. So I'm gonna stay with the program and continue to allow you guys to help me. And this thing not only saved my life, this thing will restore your family too, and restore anything that you believe that you've lost. One day at a time. That's my 9-step experience. Thanks for letting me share it. Okay, where were we? We at the 10th step.
Yeah, step 10.
Okay, Alyssa, Alyssa's gonna do step 10, right?
We have some people with their hands up. See what Michelle and Arinda. Yeah, unless Alyssa has it. Do you have a question,
Okay.
Alyssa, on step 9? Or you just want to read? Arinda, unmute yourself. What? You have a question on step 9, Arinda?
Yes, I had never heard about we didn't have to make, can you hear me?
Yes.
That we didn't have to make amends to our ex-girlfriend or boyfriend or ex-spouse if we didn't have a relationship with them. Is that totally true, or I'm not quite clear on that piece?
It's very simple. Your sponsor is going to check your motive. Why would you want to make an amends to them if you don't have? Remember, step 9 says, except when to do so would injure them or others. So if you don't have a child with them, then you got to check your motive. Your sponsor will check your motive. Do you want to get back with them? Do you want to, continue to have sex with them, friends with benefits? So yeah, again, that will be up to you and your sponsor. That's why we suggest that you get someone to go over that list with you.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And I do have a challenge in the part where it talks about financial insecurities. I'm having a problem dealing with that because I'm always insecure about my finances and
Hey, Orinda, this is not an open discussion meeting. Do you have a
oh,
sponsor? Do you have a sponsor, Orinda?
yes, sir.
Okay, please, yeah, stay with us after we have, we'll be done in probably less than 90 minutes. So
Okay.
stay with us and,
Okay.
yeah, we can talk afterwards.
I'm sorry. I
No,
apologize.
no,
Thank
no, no, Orinda, please, you're doing fine. You're good. Go ahead, Sandy, what's up? You have
My
a
name's
question?
Sandy,
Sandy?
alcoholic, grateful to be here in recovery. My sponsor had me put me on the list instead of reaching out to my significant others because there's things that I needed to forgive myself for in those situations um, instead of reaching out to them. Thank you for letting me be here.
Fantastic. Any other questions on step 9? Comments? Right. Yeah, Alyssa can unmute you. You can unmute yourself now, Alyssa. Go ahead.
All right, step 10. Hi, my name is Lois. I'm an alcoholic. Step 10. Continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admit it. Step 10 is very simple and pretty much self-explanatory. Steps 10, 11, and 12 are what many members of AA refer to as the maintenance steps. These maintenance steps can be started on your very first day in the AA program. You can start doing steps 10, 11, and 12 very, very early in AA. Big Book, page 84. This thought brings us to step 10, which suggests we continue to take personal inventory and continue to set right any new mistakes as we go along. We vigorously commenced this way of living, as we cleaned up the past. We entered the world of the spirit. Our next function is to grow in understanding and effectiveness. This is not an overnight matter. It should continue for a lifetime. Continue to watch for selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, and fear. When these crop up, we ask God at once to remove them. We discuss them with someone immediately and make amends quickly if we have harmed anyone. Then we resolutely turn our thoughts to someone we can help. Love and tolerance of others is our code. You can start doing steps 10, 11, and 12 your very first day in AA. Step 10. Take that personal inventory. If you get a sponsor, you will be doing the 10th step each time you talk to them. Step 11, prayer and meditation. You can start that on day 1. Step 12, the principle behind step 12 is service. You can start being of service your first day, whether it's on Zoom or in-person meetings. You may not have an AA message yet, but you have your message, and you can start sharing that even if you have one day and picked up a white chip yesterday. Share your story with someone thinking of getting a white chip today. We're not saying that you skip steps 1 through 9. We're saying that you do steps 10, 11, and 12 while doing steps 1 through 9. Just as rigorous honesty and humility were required for steps 4 and 5, they are also required for steps 10. Steps 6 and 7 provided us with a list of character defects, which all human beings possess. Therefore, it is a very simple process to determine when we're at fault and when and need to do something about it. Unfortunately, just like many of the other 12 steps of AA, simple doesn't mean easy. Who the heck wants to go around admitting when they are wrong? Well, in AA, we must do this if we are going to have long-term, contented sobriety. This is the beginning of being happy, joyous, and free. 12 and 12, page 88. As we work the first 9 steps, we prepare ourselves for the adventure of a new life. But when we approach step 10, we commence to put our AA way of living to practical use, day by day, in fair weather or foul. Then comes the acid test. Can we stay sober, keep in emotional balance, and live to good purpose under all conditions? Big Book, page 62. Selfishness, self-centeredness. That, we think, is the root of our troubles. Driven by 100 forms of fear, self-delusion, self-seeking, and self-pity, we step on the toes of our fellows and they retaliate. Sometimes they hurt us, seemingly without provocation, but we invariably find that at some time in the past we have made decisions based on self, which later placed us in a position to be hurt. So our troubles, we think, are basically of our own making. They arise out of ourselves, and the alcoholic is an extreme example of self-will run riot, though he usually doesn't think so. Above everything, we alcoholics must be rid of selfishness. We must, or it kills us. Big Book, page 86. When we retire at night, we constructively review our day. Were we resentful, selfish, dishonest, or afraid? Do we owe an apology? Have we kept something to ourselves which should be discussed with another person at once? Were we kind and loving towards all? Could we have done better? Were we thinking of ourselves most of the time? Or were we thinking of what we could do for others, of what we could pack into the stream of life? But we must be careful not to drift into worry, remorse, or morbid reflection, for that would diminish our usefulness to others. After making our review, we ask God's forgiveness and inquire what corrective measures should be taken. On awakening, let us think about the 24 hours ahead. We consider our plans for the day. Before we begin, we ask God to direct our thinking, especially asking that it be divorced from self-pity, dishonest, or self-seeking motives. The previous two paragraphs are found under step 11 in the Big Book, but apply to step 10 as well. Big Book, page 84 through 85. The 10th step promises, and we have ceased fighting anything and anyone, even alcohol, for by this time sanity will have returned. We will seldom be interested in liquor. If tempted, we recoil from it as from a hot flame. We react sanely and normally, and we will find that this has happened automatically. We will see that our new attitude towards liquor has been given us without any thought or effort on our part. It just comes. This is the miracle of it. We are not fighting it, neither are we avoiding temptation. We feel as though we have been placed in a position of neutrality, safe and protected. We have not even sworn off. Instead, the problem has been removed. It does not exist for us. We are neither cocky nor afraid. This is our experience. This is how we react so long as we keep in fit spiritual condition. The 10th step helps me stay sober or stay in fit spiritual condition. 12 and 12, page 89 through 90. The emphasis on inventory is heavy only because a great many of us have never really acquired the habit of accurate self-appraisal. Once this healthy practice has been groomed, it will be so interesting and profitable that the time it takes won't be missed. For these minutes, and sometimes hours spent in self-examination, are bound to make all the other hours of the day better and happier. And at length, our inventories become a regular part of everyday living rather than the unusual or set apart. You can do a personal inventory many times a day. Do not only look for times that you're wrong, look for the things you did or said that made you feel good so that you can repeat and improve on those. People may not always remember what you say. They may not remember what you do, but they will never forget how you make them feel. It's best to have someone depart feeling better after engaging in a conversation with you. 12 and 12, page 93. When evening comes, perhaps just before going to sleep, many of us draw up a balance sheet for the day. This is a good place to remember that inventory taking is not always done in red ink. It's a poor day indeed when we haven't done anything right. As a matter of fact, the waking hours are usually well filled with things that are constructive. Good intentions, good thoughts, and good acts are for us to see. Even when we have tried hard and failed, we may chalk that up as one of the greatest credits of all. Under these conditions, the pains of failure are converted into assets. Out of them, we receive the stimulation we need to go forward. The 12 steps needs to become a way of life for you, and the 10th step will help you stay on the right track and move forward and grow. You may be on the right track, but if you're not moving forward, you'll never get run over. We will never be out of the woods with alcoholism, but with AA, we now have it designed for living. Restraint of pen, tongue, and the send button will keep you from eating crow and having egg on your face too often. 12 and 12, page 15. AA's 12 steps are a group of principles, spiritual in nature, which, if practiced as a way of life, can expel the obsession to drink and enable the sufferer to become happily and usefully whole. Will you continue to take personal inventory and continue to set right any new mistakes as you go along? Yes or no? If you have decided you want what we have and are willing to go to any length to get it, you are ready to take certain steps. Alcoholics Anonymous, page 58. Are you still willing to go to any lengths?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
All
Yes.
right, move on. Step 11.
Okay, let's ask that again. They weren't able to unmute because of the Zoom bombers. We muted them, but now everybody can unmute now.
All right. Are
Yes.
you still willing to go to any lengths?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes,
Yes. Yes.
yes,
Yes.
yes.
Anybody have any questions about step 10?
No.
All right. Don't have any questions.
No.
Am I good to move on?
Yeah, I believe that Chevy was doing step 11, right?
Yes. Okay, you ready for step 11?
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. Step 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood him, praying only for knowledge of his will for us and the power to carry that out. Meditation does not mean emptying your mind. 12 and 12, page 96. Prayer and meditation are our principal means of conscious contact with God. You can start doing steps 10, 11, and 12 your first day in AA. Step 10, take that personal inventory. If you get a sponsor, you'll be doing the 10th step each time you talk to them. Step 11, prayer and meditation. You can start that on day 1. Step 12, the principle behind step 12 is service. You can start being of service your first day, whether it's on Zoom or in-person meetings. You may not have an AA message yet, but you will have your message, and you can start sharing that even if you have one day and picked a white chip yesterday. Share your story with someone thinking of getting a white chip today. We are not saying that you should skip steps 1 through 9. We are saying that you can do steps 10, 11, and 12 while doing steps 1 through 9. Big Book, page 86. When we retire at night, we constructively review our day. Were we resentful, selfish, dishonest, or afraid? We owe an apology. Have we kept something to ourselves which should be discussed with another person at once? Were we kind and loving towards all? What could we have done better? Were we thinking of ourselves most of the time? Or were we thinking of what we could do for others, of what we could pack into the stream of life? But we must be careful not to drift into worry, remorse, or morbid reflection, for that would diminish our usefulness to others. After making our review, we ask God's forgiveness and inquire what corrective measures should be taken. On awakening, let us think about the 24 hours ahead. We consider our plans for the day. Before we begin, we ask God to direct our thinking, especially asking that it be divorced from self-pity, dishonest, and self-seeking motives. Big Book, page 87. What used to be the hunch or the occasional inspiration gradually becomes a working part of the mind. Being still inexperienced and having just made conscious contact with God is not probable that we are going to be inspired at all times. We might pay for this presumption in all sorts of absurd actions and ideas. Nevertheless, we find that our thinking will, as time passes, be more and more on the plane of inspiration. We come to rely upon it. Whether you think you can or you can't, you're correct. If you think you can't, you probably won't. If you think you can, you have a pretty good shot at all. Napoleon Hill said, what the mind of a man can conceive and believe, it can be achieved. Man didn't think a 4-minute mile was possible until 1954 when Roger Bannister did it. The human mind is a very powerful organ. It is more powerful and complex than a computer. The same way that we develop a bad habit through repetition, we can develop good habits. 12 and 12, page 104. In AA, we have found that the actual good results of prayer are beyond question. They are matters of knowledge and experience. All those who have persisted have found strength, not ordinarily their own. They have found wisdom beyond their usual capability, and they have increasingly found a peace of mind which can stand firm in the face of the difficult circumstances. Most members of AA know how to pray already, or learn how to pray early in the AA program. AA teaches us not to pray for ourselves and not to pray for special things or outcomes, but many others have problems meditating. Meditation is not hard and not complicated. 12 and 12, page 99. The St. Francis prayer. Lord, make me the channel of thy peace, that where there is hatred, I may bring love, that where there is wrong, I may bring the spirit of forgiveness, that where there is discord, I may bring harmony, that where there is error, I may bring truth, that where there is doubt, hope, that where there are shadows, I may bring light, and that where there is sadness, I may bring joy. Lord, grant that I may seek rather to comfort than to be comforted, to understand than to be understood, to love than to be loved. For it is by self-forgetting that one finds. It is by forgiving that one is forgiving. It is by dying that one awakens to eternal life. Amen. As beginners in meditation, we might now reread this prayer several times very slowly, savoring every word and trying to take in a deep meaning of each phrase and idea. You do not have to clear your mind to meditate. That last sentence in the reading from the 12 and 12 says, as beginners in meditation, we might now reread this prayer several times very slowly, savoring every word and trying to take in the deep meaning of each phrase and idea. Have you ever read a paragraph or a page in a book but don't remember doing so? You didn't forget what you read. Have you ever been introduced to someone and less than 5 minutes later you don't remember their name? You didn't forget their name. Your feet were in the room, but your mind was somewhere else. But where your feet are, stay in that moment. The human mind can only entertain one thought at a time. Big Book, page 88. Step 11, promises. We are then in much less danger of excitement, fear, worry, anger, self-pity, or foolish decisions. We become much more efficient. We do not tire so easily, for we are not burning up energy foolishly as we did when we were trying to arrange life to suit ourselves. It works. It really does. 12 and 12, page 105. Perhaps one of the greatest rewards of meditation and prayer is the sense of belonging that comes to us. We no longer live in a completely hostile world. We are no longer lost and frightened and purposeless. Some members of AA say that they wake up with untreated alcoholism every day. I've never heard a cancer patient say that they wake up with untreated cancer when they are under a doctor's care. Why would someone wake up with untreated alcoholism if they are living the principles of the program? The person who truly wakes up with untreated alcoholism is not aware of it, nor would they admit it. Step 11 is the main reason that many do not wake up with untreated alcoholism, no matter what may be going on in their life. Benefits of prayer and meditation, where and when to meditate. Do you want me to read that document?
Yes.
John or Jonathan, do you want me to click on the link for the where and when to meditate document?
Sherry, I didn't click on the link when I was reading mine. I just
Okay.
kept reading.
All right.
No,
perfect.
they read that on their own. Just continue.
Okay, so you're now living in step 11. Does anyone have any questions or comments related to step 11? All right, I guess on to step 12.
Yes. We're scheduled to reach for step 12.
Nicole, maybe?
Okay.
I can read it unless someone wants to read.
Go ahead.
I'm Nicole, I'm an alcoholic. Step 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. The principle behind the 12th step is service, the action of helping or doing work for someone. The terms spiritual experience and spiritual awakening are used many times in this book, which upon careful reading shows that the personality change sufficient to bring about recovery from alcoholism has manifested itself among us in many different forms. Yet it is true that our first printing gave many readers the impression that these personality changes or religious experiences must be in the nature of sudden and spectacular upheavals. Happily for everyone, this conclusion is erroneous. Big Book, page 567, Appendix 2. A spiritual awakening, as referred to in AA, is simply a change of heart and mind. Our spiritual awakening is of the educational kind.
You're so slower than that.
It should be a continuous lifetime process. Sometimes it is a spiritual experience or spiritual awakening which pushes someone to seek help even before starting the 12 steps of AA. As previously stated, a spiritual awakening is of the educational kind, whereas a spiritual experience is usually a profound and sudden physical experience which quickly dissipates but leaves a person changed for a long time, sometimes forever. Big Book, page 89. Practical experience shows that nothing will so much ensure immunity from drinking as intensive work with other alcoholics. It works when other activities fail. This is our 12th suggestion. Carry this message to other alcoholics. You can help when no one else can. You can secure their confidence when others fail. Remember, they are very ill. Life will take on new meaning. To watch people recover, to see them help others, to watch loneliness vanish, to see a fellowship grow up and around about you. To have a host of friends, this is an experience you must not miss. We know you will not want to miss it. Frequent contact with newcomers and with each other is the bright spot of our lives. You can start doing steps 10, 11, and 12 your first day in AA. Step 10, take that personal inventory. If you get a sponsor, you'll be doing the 10th step each time you talk to them. Step 11, prayer and meditation. You can start that on day 1. Step 12, the principle behind step 12 is service. You can start being of service your first day, whether it's on Zoom or in-person meetings. You may not have an AA message yet, but you have your message and you can start sharing that even if you have one day and you picked a white chip yesterday. Share your story with someone thinking of getting a white chip today. We're not saying that you skip steps 1 through 9. We're saying that you can do steps 10, 11, and 12 while doing steps 1 through 9. AA cannot survive if individual members do not carry the message of recovery in and out of AA. AA groups cannot survive if they do not carry the message of recovery to individual members. Are you involved in your sobriety or are you committed? In a bacon and egg breakfast, the chicken is involved, the pig is committed. The individual cannot remain spiritually fit if they do not carry the message of recovery to others in and out of AA. The Dead Sea is named as such because it does not sustain the normal life forms because it is too salty. The River Jordan flows into it, but the water does not go anywhere else after that. If we get all this good AA stuff and hold on to it without sharing it with anyone else, we will eventually become spiritually dead. There is usually a natural filtration process that takes place when a liquid flows into something and then flows out into something else. 12 and 12, page 110. Practically every AA member declares that no satisfaction has been deeper and no joy greater than in 12 step. Job well done. To watch the eyes of men and women open with wonder as they move from darkness into light, to see their lives quickly fill with new purpose and meaning, to see whole families reassembled, to see the alcoholic outcast received back into his community in full citizenship, and above all, to watch these people awaken to the presence of a loving God in their lives. These things are the substance of what we receive as we carry AA's message to the next alcoholic. I sought my soul, but my soul I could not see. I sought my God, but my God eluded me. I sought my brother, and I found all three. William Blake. Service to others is the rent you pay for the room here on earth. Muhammad Ali. Will you carry the message of recovery to other alcoholics? Yes or no?
Yes.
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 Will you be of service to people in and out of AA? Yes or no?
Yes.
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 Okay, let's
You
let
are
them
now
unmute.
living.
Hold on. Now everybody can unmute. Ask them again, please.
Will you carry the message of recovery to other alcoholics? Yes or no?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Will you be of service to people in and out of AA? Yes or no?
Yes.
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 And yes.
You are now living in step 12. The message that we need to
Yeah.
carry is that of hope. No hope, no recovery, no hope, no recovery. After the Big Book was published in 1939, people would order it, read it, follow the directions contained in the book, get sober, start their own meetings, help others get sober. You can recover quickly in Alcoholics Anonymous by having the 12 steps become a way of life sooner than later. Page 15 of the 12 and 12. A's 12 steps are a group of principles, spiritual in their nature, which if practiced as a way of life, can expel the obsession to drink and enable the sufferer to become happily and usefully whole. Big Book, page 25. There is a solution. Almost none of us like the self-searching, the leveling of our pride, the confession of shortcomings, which the process required for successful consumption. But we saw that it really worked in others, and we had come to believe in the hopelessness and futility of life as we have been living it. When, therefore, we were approached by those in whom the problem had been solved, there was nothing left for us but to pick up the simple kit of spiritual tools laid at our feet. We have found much of heaven, and we have been rocketed into a fourth dimension of existence, of which we had not even dreamed. Hopefully you have more tools in your spiritual toolkit. Please do your fourth and eighth step. Get a sponsor and do your fifth step and help guide you making your ninth step amends. You can get this done this week. Have that sense of urgency we talked about in the beginning. Your life depends on you staying sober. Think about the hope that is conveyed in the passage below. Big Book, page 164. Our book is meant to be suggestive only. We realize we know only a little. God will constantly disclose more to you and to us. Ask him in your morning meditation that you can do each day for the man who is still sick. The answers will come if your own house is in order, but obviously you cannot transmit something you haven't got. See to it that your relationship with him is right, and great events will come to pass for you and countless others. This is the great fact for us. Abandon yourself to God as you understand God. Admit your faults to him and to your fellows. Clear away the wreckage of your past. Give freely of what you find and join us. We shall be with you in the fellowship of the Spirit, and you will surely meet some of us as you trudge the road of happy destiny. May God bless you and keep you until then. Thank you. Okay, Jonathan, I think, thank you so much. Thank you for my service.
Thank you all for being here today, and we finished this in record time. But there's one other thing that we need to do, and let's close out with the Lord's Prayer, and then we'll have fellowship and talk amongst each other about what we've done here today. Thank God for what we were able to come here and do today. So, who woke us up this morning? Our Father, God in heaven,
Heaven,
holy be thy name. Thy kingdom come,
Come.
Thy
thy will be done
on
on
earth
earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us for thine is the kingdom, the power,
and
and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Okay. Thank thank you all again for coming out today and investing in your sobriety. That's what you did today, you know. And this is how we give an introduction and an understanding of the 12 steps, you know, in just a few hours, you know. And don't forget that the the workshop that you're reading, you can save it and read it again and read it again and even use it to help somebody else. There's a lot of answers to the questions that we may have about the steps right there. And we took all of our answers straight from the literature. So we didn't make up anything on our own. Kim S., you are, everybody can unmute. You don't have to raise your hand. This is fellowship. And look around the room at the people that are here with you today. And these are the people that you can talk about these things with because they've experienced this day with you today. Come on in, Kim. You can talk.
Hi.
Question,
I was wondering
comment?
what day of the month you this is held on, or is it different every time? Because I would really like to join the workshop once a month. It's really kind of cool.
Yeah, very.
It's
it was
every
awesome.
month. Let me get the schedule. John will post the schedule. We're scheduled up for the next couple of months, so the
No,
dates are
no,
already posted.
we don't have to post anything. Just go to the website.
That's right.
Go to the website.
It's all on the website. I'll put a link on the website. And yeah, we have the schedule up until July.
Yeah, we got the
So I
schedule
can
up for the
also
next 6
copy this
months.
document
You know?
and reread it when I want.
Yeah, you have it, right?
I
you can.
copy. I did while we were reading, I copied and pasted the site, but I didn't know if it would be active if the
link is good.
meeting
The link
came
is
back.
good until, the link will be
January,
good.
You can save it.
January 15th is
Save
our
it to
next
your
one.
Thank you
Yeah,
very
that's what I
much.
thought it
January
was. Great.
15th.
Hmm.
Yeah, January 15th is the next one. That's great. What a great New Year's program that's going to be. And this one was good for Christmas. You know, I gave myself a Christmas gift by being here with you guys. What a great gift, you know, to get a refresher on these 12 steps. I'm here all the time anyway. I love it. I love it. I would suggest anybody, you know, come every month
Definitely.
or at least every other month to
Yeah,
stay in step, man. Keeps me in step, you know.
definitely.
You know.
I'm looking. Hello, I'm Claire again. I'm looking for a sponsor. So should I need to email people? I know you told us before, but
I am too, Claire.
are you, Wendy? Mhm.
We can look in the chat, guys. I just put the men's and
Okay.
women's phone. I just put the men's and women's phone list. And also, if
okay.
you would like to be of service,
Mhm.
you know, maybe you can replace cousin Jonathan in doing this. Cousin Jonathan had
Yeah.
less than no, seriously, he had less than a year when he started doing this over a year and a half ago.
I can read,
Yeah.
but I'm not ready to host a meeting quite yet.
Yes, you are.
I'm not doing anything
No, I'm not.
special.
I
I'm not
just said
doing
I only
anything
talked
special.
to. What's that?
I'm not doing anything special. All I'm doing is basically opening it up, and you guys are doing the rest, teaching me.
John, I emailed
Yeah.
the phone list the other day.
Okay. So
And
what
I
do I do?
also put on that phone list, like on the email that I
Can't get
needed
into
a
the
sponsor.
phone list that you sent.
Wendy, check your spam or anything else. Maybe I needed your phone number because I responded to every single one.
Did you?
Otherwise,
Okay, I'll check the spam.
just send it again. Otherwise,
Okay.
Oh,
what was that,
I see the
Regina?
phone list.
I can't get into the phone list.
No, it's not opening that one anyway. There's a couple lists of it, so maybe.
I can type it in though, I imagine.
Oh, you're talking about the email phone list? The
Yeah.
email?
Yeah.
Yeah, the email you have to copy and paste. It's not a link.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I got it.
Yeah, this was really awesome. I've never done anything like this before. This
It's
was
really
really
good.
cool.
Yeah, we have different workshops. We got the 1 hour workshops also, where we discuss different issues, you know, different topics and different issues. And if you go, you haven't been to the to the podcast yet? Have you listened to our
I
podcast?
I haven't. I'm just getting into this group here. I want to do some service work. I just got my lap, so I'm trying to
great.
figure this gall darn thing out.
Well, we
Right,
will
so-
That's the good thing about this. We don't have to figure this out alone.
Right.
That's right.
Okay, I'm gonna stop the recording now, but we're still gonna hang out.